Hey there, fellow garden enthusiasts. Welcome back to Grow with Soil, where we dig deep into the world of home gardening together. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on some of the most effective gardening techniques I've learned through years of trial, error, and plenty of dirt under my fingernails. Whether you're just starting your first container garden or you've been cultivating your green space for years, these tips are going to transform the way you approach gardening. Let me tell you something that changed my entire gardening game. Your soil is not just dirt, it's a living ecosystem, and once you understand this, everything else falls into place. I used to think I could just throw some seeds in the ground and hope for the best, but my plants were mediocre at best. Then I started actually paying attention to what was happening beneath the surface. The first thing you need to do is get to know your soil's texture and composition. Grab a handful of moist soil and squeeze it. If it forms a tight ball that doesn't crumble easily, you've got clay soil. If it falls apart immediately, that's sandy soil. The sweet spot is loamy soil, which holds together but crumbles with gentle pressure. Most of us don't have perfect loam naturally, but here's the beautiful thing. You can improve any soil type with organic matter. I'm talking about compost, aged manure, and leaf mold. Work these into your beds regularly, and you'll see dramatic improvements in plant health, water retention, and nutrient availability. Can we talk about watering for a minute? Because this is where so many gardeners go wrong, and I was definitely guilty of this myself. The conventional advice is to water deeply and infrequently, but let me add some nuance to that. The key is understanding what deeply actually means for your specific plants and soil type. I started using the finger test, and it revolutionized my watering routine. Stick your finger into the soil up to your second knuckle. If it feels dry at that depth, it's time to water most vegetables and flowers. But here's the trick. Water in the morning, ideally between 6 and 10 o'clock. This gives plants time to absorb moisture before the heat of the day and allows foliage to dry, reducing disease risk. Evening watering might seem convenient after work, but wet leaves overnight are an invitation for fungal problems. Another game changer has been mulching around my plants. A 2 to 3 inch layer of organic mulch like straw, wood chips, or shredded leaves reduces evaporation dramatically. I've cut my watering frequency in half since I started mulching consistently, and my plants are actually healthier because the soil moisture stays more consistent. This is where gardening gets really fun and strategic. Companion planting isn't just folklore, there's real science behind why certain plants thrive together. I've been experimenting with companion planting for 3 seasons now, and the results speak for themselves. Tomatoes and basil aren't just perfect together on your plate. They're garden allies too. Basil helps repel aphids and tomato hornworms while potentially improving tomato flavor. I plant basil in a circle around my tomato cages, and I've noticed significantly fewer pest issues. Similarly, I always tuck nasturtiums around the edges of my vegetable beds. These beautiful flowers act as trap crops, attracting aphids away from your vegetables. Plus, they're edible and add a peppery kick to salads. Marigolds deserve their reputation as the guardian flowers of the garden. Their strong scent confuses many pests, and I've found them particularly effective when planted near cucumbers and squash to deter cucumber beetles. The key is to plant enough of them to make an impact. Don't just stick one sad marigold in the corner and expect miracles. Here's something that took me embarrassingly long to figure out. You don't have to plant everything at once. Succession planting means you're harvesting fresh produce continuously, rather than dealing with a massive glut followed by, well, nothing. For crops like lettuce, radishes, and green beans, I plant a new small batch every 2 weeks throughout the growing season. This approach has completely changed my relationship with my garden. Instead of drowning in zucchini in July and having nothing in September, I have a steady supply of fresh vegetables. Start by identifying which crops you actually eat regularly, then plan your succession plantings around those. I keep a simple journal noting what I planted and when, which really helps me time my next planting perfectly. Pruning used to intimidate me. I was always worried I'd cut the wrong thing and, accidentally kill my plants. But honestly, strategic pruning is one of the most powerful tools in your gardening arsenal, especially for tomatoes, peppers, and fruiting plants. When you remove suckers from tomato plants, those shoots that grow between the main stem and branches, you're actually directing the plant's energy toward fruit production rather than, excessive foliage. For herbs like basil, oregano, and mint, regular harvesting is actually a form of pruning that encourages bushier growth. Never harvest more than 1/3 of the plant at once, and always cut just above a leaf node. This stimulates the plant to branch out at that brain, giving you more harvest points for next time. I pinch back my basil plants weekly once they're established, and they reward me with abundant flavorful leaves all season long. Fertilizers can get expensive fast, but you can feed your garden effectively on a budget. I make my own compost tea by steeping finished compost in water for a few days, then using the nutrient-rich liquid to water my plants. It's like a multivitamin for your garden, packed with beneficial microorganisms and nutrients. And hey, don't overlook free fertility sources either. Coffee grounds mixed into your compost add nitrogen, crushed eggshells provide calcium for tomatoes and peppers, and banana peels are potassium powerhouses. I keep a container in my kitchen for these scraps, and they all end up enriching my garden soil eventually. The key is balance. No single amendment is a magic bullet, but together they create a complete nutritional profile for your plants. There you have it, the tips and tricks that have genuinely transformed my home garden from struggling to thriving. Remember, every garden is unique, and part of the joy is discovering what works in your specific conditions. I'd love to hear about your experiences with these techniques, so drop a comment below, and let's keep this conversation growing. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to Grow with Soil for more in-depth gardening content and share this with a friend who's ready to level up their garden game. Together we're cultivating not just plants, but a community of passionate gardeners. Happy growing, and I'll see you in the next one.